and live Wednesday's 7-game early slate
Nailed
kicking
it.
off at 12:10 Eastern. We have a split slate day here over on DraftKings. DraftKings giving the 7 p.m. 6-gamer the main slate treatment. So we're going to be here to cover that early game slate for everybody here. 7 games, which we kind of got some responses on last week when we had an early slate. A lot of you looking for that early slate content here. So as per usual, when we do have these split slate days, we do the podcast for the early slate. We'll be back live at 5 o'clock Eastern to do the live stream to cover the main slate. I will be. James will not be. We'll have a special guest replacement on for that show here this evening. But come back live 5 o'clock for the main slate. We'll get into the 7-game early slate here, though, James, for everybody looking to get some day baseball action under their belt.
Yeah, interesting slate. FanDuel also running the same slate, so good to see the two sites in sync here. Really good pitching at the top, like really top tier pitching. Interesting names in the mid tier. Doesn't look like we have a lot to like in the value tier, but I guess that remains to be seen. We'll get into that in a little bit. But why don't we jump into Vegas right off rip here? Once again, we have Great American in play. We have pretty much all these series wrapping up. All these teams have been playing each other all week. Arizona, Milwaukee again, Baltimore, Tampa. They weren't on the main slate on Tuesday, but they're playing again. Chicago, Pittsburgh. So interesting matchups in terms of money line favorites. Christian Javier and the Houston Astros minus 163 over on DraftKings Sportsbook. Zach Gallen, the Arizona Diamondbacks minus 140 taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. And then Taj Bradley minus 150 taking on Baltimore. That's it in terms of money line. No big favorites. Minus 163 was the biggest. In terms of over-unders, geesh, no game with an implied run total higher than 8.5. As it currently sits, 7 implied runs in Toronto, Miami. I guess Casey and Detroit opened at 9, but it's been bet down to 8.5. Now the lean on every sports book is the over for what that's worth, but yeah, 8.5 implied runs in Kansas City, Detroit is the highest we have. It's also 8.5 in Mets and Houston as well.
Yeah, pretty interesting slate here, like you said, with 7 games. And you look at the pitching here. Top heavy, Gausman, Javier, Gallen up over 10K. Gallen going up against Milwaukee, Javier at home against the Mets, Gausman there against Miami. On smaller slates, we got to try to find value oftentimes to get some of these top price pitchers in. So we'll break down the hitters for everybody here in a moment. But looking at this pitching, talk to me about some of these top end guys. I mean, which matchups do you find yourself looking to target here?
I mean, I definitely have appeal in Kevin Gausman. It's hard not to. He's been incredible. I mean, 121 strikeouts and 92 and 2/3 innings pitched this year. I mean, how many double-digit strikeouts game this year? 3, 4, 5, 6 times he's gone for 11 or more, or 10 or more strikeouts. He's gone for 40 fantasy points a couple times, so the upside's there. Decent matchup. I know Miami obviously is pretty hot offensively. Christian Javier's fine, but again, it's like, why do we need paying? Yeah, I mean, dude, paying 10-2 for a guy that has 4 strikeouts in his last 2 starts is like not appealing. I'd rather just play Zach Gallen against a struggling, and now, struggling, I guess, struggling going into Tuesday, and then Milwaukee puts up 7 runs, but they're bottom 10 and pretty
between Nelson and Gallen,
very, very true. Very true. They're bottom 10 against right-handed pitching in pretty much every category. So I could get to Gallen. And then it's like Taj Bradley had 11 strikeouts in his first 12 outs against Oakland, and then ran into some trouble in the 5th inning and couldn't get out of that inning.
Walks have been an issue for him, but from a K per 9 perspective of pitchers who've thrown at least 30 innings this year, he's the second highest K per 9 behind Strider.
Yeah, it's insane.
Ridiculous strikeout number, 63 in 43 innings. The issue is 41 hits in 43 innings and 20 runs in 43 innings.
Right.
Not really great, but yeah, upside through the roof with this kid, just purely off the strikeouts.
Yeah, and that's why I think of the top tier, it's Gausman, Gallen, Bradley. I guess when you move down below, John, is where things get interesting because Tyler Wells continues to just be really good. I mean, there, whether or not the numbers suggest he's going to regress at
We
all.
pitched him against Kansas City. I don't know if we threw him against Toronto or not, but we were talking him up for one of those last two starts of his.
Yeah, well, 19 plus fantasy points in 4 straight starts, double digit fantasy points in all but one start this year. Kid's been awesome. But now he runs into Tampa. And then Abbott hasn't allowed a run yet.
Yeah,
Not a singular run.
he does not have good peripheral
Peripherals.
numbers. We were
But
talking about this in the Fantasy Time Discord earlier today. And yep, hasn't a lot of run, but he has like a 5.5 K per nine, like a 4 walks per nine. Just some pretty ugly, XFIP numbers and things like that. But as you've been saying all season long, lefties versus Colorado is the matchup we want here. So maybe he makes that outlast for another start, right? Just because of the spot here.
that's what I'm thinking too. Like, the Rockies cannot hit lefties. They're
Right.
just terrible. So I have interest in Abbott, truthfully. I'm probably going to get there. I used Williamson the other day. So, like, who am I not to? If I'm using Brandon Williamson,
Right.
who hadn't been pitching well, and he wasn't terrible, but he did give up 3 runs in the 6th inning, and he gets 11.7 fantasy points. I'm obviously going to pitch Abbott, who hasn't allowed a run yet. So
Right.
I'm going to get to Abbott in the mid tier.
5.6 xFIP, of 4.20 expected ERA for Abbott. He has a 200 BABIP on the year. So, like, again, just
Very
four and a
lucky.
half walks per nine. Just not great. He has only a 30% ground ball rate, too. Like, just getting lucky.
That's scary. That's scary. I mean, that's scary and Great American for sure.
Yeah. So that's my only hesitation. It was actually a seasonal question. Someone wanting to know who on their roster to drop for Gavin Williams, who got called up by Cleveland. And I, said drop Abbott. He's like, well, he hasn't given up a run yet. Why would we drop him? I'm like, because he's going to be giving up runs soon. So, you milk the cow, you put him back in the pasture here before you get bit by it. So, I agree with you though. All the numbers for Colorado against lefties is so bad that maybe he's able to pitch around those peripheral numbers here for another outing.
Kind of like Julio Teheran, right? Who continues to pitch
Is
around all the
he pitching
peripheral.
around peripherals, or is he just good? Right? Like at this point, I guess I don't know anymore. Again, ERA is 1.78, but his expected ERA is 3.13. His
Yeah, it's
FIP's
so good.
3.74. The ground ball rate's 41%. Like, great. He's not striking anybody out, but he's not walking anybody, which is good, right? Like 1.1 walks per nine. Sure, if he's going to pitch to contact, at least he's not giving free passes up.
Right.
So, we pitched Marcus Stroman here tonight. Like, Stroman doesn't strike anybody out, but he went 7 shutout, 5 Ks today. If you get Julio Teheran going 6 innings unearned and 4 strikeouts with a win, he still got you 20 fantasy points there. So it's just
Arizona's a different
Arizona,
beast.
man. That offense is just unbelievable. So this could be definitely a game where things come to light, or he just keeps pitching well. So I don't know. He's faced Toronto. He's played San Francisco. He pitched in Cincinnati. Passed all of those tests pretty easily. Pittsburgh and Oakland are easier matchups. Did what we didn't expect them to do. So, hard to argue. I guess my only thing against Teheran would be unlikely Milwaukee wins this game, right? With Gallen on the other side. So, that would be the detriment to him there. He would have to really go lights out to pay it off if he's not going to get a win.
Where else do we go?
Sandy, maybe?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. I was listening to the Dan Levitard show today, and they had Skip Schumacher on, the manager of the Marlins, and he was talking about how Sandy's start to this year was impacted directly because of the WBC.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how, obviously true that is, but something to consider maybe for the second half of the year. So
yeah. There's, I think, recent numbers. We looked at this earlier today, I think, too. Like, isn't Toronto against righties over the last month? They just haven't been very good. Or am I making that up?
They had been good, but it was also there was a 20-run outing mixed in there, you know?
So they leave a lot to be desired. The Toronto offense, a lot of name talent, but the performances
What about in June? Did we
haven't
look up
really
like
been there.
specific to June?
I haven't looking up specifically to
All
June.
right.
Last 2 weeks are 20th in WOBA, a 140 ISO, 20% strikeout rate. So like nothing crazy.
Yeah, in June 14th in OPS as a team against right-handed pitching. So
So
middle of the pack.
So Sandy's questionable. I liked Rich Hill last start. Got hit around, still had 5
Yeah.
strikeouts. He had 6
6
walks,
walks.
right?
Yeah, it was
Like,
brutal.
I know that the Cubs do have some guys that can hit lefties in their lineup. Maybe that's a hesitation for you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
173 ISO the last 2 weeks, but a 25% strikeout rate and just a 227 average. So again, it's another team that's like they're just hitting power against lefties right now, but everything else kind of looks bad for them. So
We're gonna play Jan Gomes.
we're gonna play Jan Gomes. 26% strikeout rate in the last 30 days against lefties, 6th highest in baseball.
Like they have if you look at their team page, they have a lot of really good numbers against lefties.
Yeah.
Even like their lefties. Cody Bellinger's hitting 300 with a 50 at bat sample, 450 WOBA. Jan Gomes 400 WOBA. Nico Horner 320 WOBA. Mastroboni 412. Christopher Morel 389 WOBA. Seiya Suzuki 390. Dansby Swanson 360. Mike Talkman 350. So like they have a lot of good numbers, but you're right. It's like power or it's like all or nothing right now.
I'll just mention his name and we can move forward. But do you look at Brady Singer?
Yes, and we can move on.
Okay.
Yeah, we do because Detroit stinks. They have been better. I'll grant them that they've been better, but we still look at Brady Singer. I was going to say Matt Boyd because strikeouts, but Kansas City, is serviceable against left-handed pitching.
Yeah.
It is worth mentioning though, because they are okay against lefties. Okay, 23.8% strikeout rate against left-handed pitching.
Mm-hmm.
Boyd's coming off an 8 strikeout game. He's had a couple of really solid strikeout outings this year. Like 2 of his last 3, he has 8 and 9 strikeouts.
You liked him against Minnesota in that start.
I did. I mean, look. I'm aware that you can play guys against him. He's someone who gives up home runs. I'm also aware that he has some swing and miss stuff.
I mean, he just had this matchup. Didn't get out of the fifth rather, but only one earned around and 6 strikeouts. So, certainly held his own in that spot. Singer probably faced Detroit then, got rocked. So take that for what you will. Last couple of weeks here against righties, again, Detroit not really doing all that well, but they are hitting for power. 181 ISO against right-handed pitching over the last 2 weeks. But again, a bottom 20 team in WOBA, batting average 254 there is 13th. So, it's a tough slate. Their value guys going up against one another. Boyd with the strikeout upside over Singer, so maybe that's the dark throw you play. But Bobby Witt rather. Michael Garcia had a big day the other day. They also called up who was it that they had in their lineup there? He was like second base and outfield eligible. Let's see here. Is he there? Oh yeah, Taylor here. Samad Taylor.
You're talking about Taylor?
Yeah, Samad Taylor. Yeah,
Taylor, right?
He had some ridiculous numbers against lefties at AAA this year. He's a small guy. He's only 5'8", 170, but he had like a 450 batting average against lefties at AAA.
And we know Michael Garcia hits.
I guess we'll have to worry about the weather here too. There is the DraftKings weather symbol, so we'll have to key in on that as we go along here. So that's kind of our look at pitching. James, we pivot on over to the hitters here. Talk to me about some of your favorite infielders for this slate.
Yeah, right off the top, I know I mentioned Bobby Witt or Matt Boyd, but Bobby Witt does hit lefties. He's coming into this game extremely hot, 342 average over his last 10. There's been power. We know that there's speed. He has 12 home runs and 22 stolen bases on the year, and this is why he was drafted as a first-round pick. He has, 26 extra base hits on the year. He hits in the middle of this lineup when there's a lefty on the hill. So I love Bobby Witt. Elly De La Cruz coming off an absolute monster game, 3 hits, 3 extra base hits, a home run, 2 doubles. Connor Siebold, although Siebold's been
Yeah.
pretty good of late, it was until he ran into Atlanta, at least, and then Atlanta shelled every single Colorado pitcher
Yeah.
that existed in the world. And then next thing we know, Connor Siebold back to reality. So he got 4 home runs in that start. Now has to pitch in Great American, like tough
Yep.
stretch for Connor Siebold because like probably gonna have to pitch at Coors as next home start too. So obviously Elly De La Cruz
Marte had a
is in
monster day
play
today. I
and
mean, if you
so
are the
good, so good.
Tehran believer, got to run it back with Marte. He homered, he had a double, he had I think he
Correct.
had another hit with a. Did he steal a bag tonight? No stolen bases, but 3 hits.
No, he had 3 hits. He
Yeah,
had 3
so
hits,
big
including
night
a
for
home
Ketel
run.
Marte at $4,700. I like him, and I think Gunnar Henderson's still worth a look here.
Yes.
Just obviously cooled off a little bit than last week when he was just unstoppable. But we talked about Bradley
Yes.
putting guys on base with the walks, so could see Gunnar Henderson here at 48 as well.
Yeah, and the only thing that stopped him was an illness. Like he wasn't like injured or whatever, but it was literally just an illness.
Spencer Steers there at $4,600 as well. A little bit of an off day. I think he had a double though. I think he had an RBI double. So still a good spot. They moved him down the lineup though with Votto. It was a weird lineup for them with their lefties in the lineup.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Fraley hit 5th, and then they moved
Steer
Votto to
hit
6th,
seventh
and
is
then
like not
Steer 7th.
ideal, but that could be their match. That could be their lineup against right-handed pitching moving forward here. So keep that in mind. Some other mid-tier guys that I think we can take a look at. I think the Tampa Bay guys are kind of interesting with Rayleigh at 43. We just talk about the power that he possesses at all times. I know we like Wells, but it could be a spot where he kind of goes ahead and gets to him there. I think if you're not in on Alcantara, Whit Merrifield's hit up at the top of the lineup for Toronto lately. Guy that's stealing bases, scoring runs. He's someone at $3,800. I think we can get to. What other value-ish plays are you taking a peek at for the infield?
Yeah, so value Yan Gomes, obviously $3,400 continues to just rake against left-handed pitching, literally hitting 400 against them. Maikel Garcia, another guy who's hitting lefties extremely well. On the year, Maikel Garcia is hitting 320 with a 363 WOBA against left-handed pitching. You mentioned Samad Taylor. He's in play. Jae-Hwan Bae might potentially lead off here. If with Kyle Hendricks on the mound, we'll see what they do. But Jae-Hwan Bae, second base outfield eligible. If he leads off against Kyle Hendricks,
If Alfaro's back in the lineup today, would you go Alfaro against Abbott? I mentioned
probably
only a 30% ground ball rate for Abbott. Alfaro had always hit lefties a little bit better when he was down in Miami, so it could be a spot for him there for sure. Anybody else? Any other value options for you down here on this slate?
Nothing that stands out. Like Torkelson is fine.
Yeah, he's been getting
He's been kind of good of late. The power's been a little bit on display. If the Cubs play Mancini has good numbers against lefties as well.
All against Bradley because he keeps on hitting.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not like totally against using people against Taj Bradley because you mentioned he has allowed a lot of base runners. He's just also striking a lot of people out. It's so tough using people that strike a lot of people out. Lefties only 273 WOBA against Taj Bradley. Righties 334 WOBA. Maybe.
All right, let's move on over to the outfield then. Talk about our top outfielders on this slate. Always just go back to Corbin Carroll because why wouldn't you? He didn't have the greatest of days. You let off good, got a quick RBI, and you're like, all right, here we go. But kind of shut down after the fact there, but still plenty of time for him to bounce back at $5,500. I think him and Kyle Tucker would be my two guys over 5K here.
Yeah, I was about to say McGill has been really bad. He was okay his last start. I'd be okay getting to Astros. Like, we didn't talk about Yanier Diaz or Altuve in the infield or Bregman, who homered on Tuesday, but I'd be okay getting to any of those guys. Love Kyle Tucker here. I'm always a proponent of abusing Kyle Tucker on your roster when he's on fire and
Actually,
he's hitting
more bases
340 over
over the
his
last
last
10
10
too.
games. So yeah, so definitely Kyle Tucker. The Cubs guys right below Bellinger. I'm not afraid to use Bellinger against Rich Hill. He's hitting 300 against lefties. Chris Morel apparently is hitting lefties, and that's something he wasn't doing last year at all. But once again, and it's going to be the third straight slate, so the Reds are going to be very popular. And we have Fraley at 44, TJ Friedel
And then Benson,
41.
right?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
in this tier specifically, they're gonna be
Yeah,
incredibly chalky
for sure.
in that price range.
Being in that low 4K range there. We mentioned Steer is there as well in that spot.
Right,
We'll see if
Steer,
Lourdes
right.
is playing in the lineup, but 4,200 is a good price tag for Lourdes. Let's see here. Grichuk against a lefty at 4K is pretty good. Profar also with the lefty at $3,700. Seiya's better split against lefties, right? Yeah.
Say his
Yeah.
better
So
split is
he's
definitely against lefties, yep.
$3,900. So some good value on this. Like Jack Sawinski, we always know double dong potential. He's got
Yep.
Hendricks here at
Yep.
$3,600 there. Who was I looking for? Olivares. Where is he? $2,700 for Olivares here against Boyd could be a play as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been really good against we've seen him hit third and like fourth against lefties. So definitely on the lookout there. Same price. Aaron Hicks homered again on
Crossman,
Tuesday. Yeah, dude. Going up just a little bit. Kerry Carpenter has homered 2 days in a row for Detroit and hitting 380 over his last 10 games with 1,000 OPS. I mean, look, nobody's going to play Tigers. And I'm not even suggesting like go
Singer
all in
kind of
on Tigers, but what has Brady Singer done to like warrant our respect? I mean, righties are hitting 301, lefties hitting 294, lefties have a 390 WOBA against him. So I would get to Kerry Carpenter, 347 WOBA, 273 average, 5 home runs against right-handed pitchers.
Jake McCarthy all the way down to 2,600.
Jake McCarthy, good baseball player. I would 100% play him at that price tag. Probably the rest of the year, I'll probably play him at 2,600.
I mean, it's an absolute free square. So, yeah.
Alek Thomas, 2,400, same boat. I mean, not obviously as like good prolific as a base runner, but he was a good player last year.
$2,400 there. Benson's 24, as you mentioned. Henry Davis, big sad.
Henry Davis, yeah, there it is. 2 slates. It took 2 slates. He didn't even he DH'd game number 2, and there he
we'll
moved
see if he ever starts a catcher or not for them, but maybe they'll move him back. But I'll give him a look at $2,400. That's fine. Talented kid here. Anybody else for you?
If Milwaukee plays Bryce Perkins, he's kind of been really good. Very limited sample, not playing a lot, but he's flat min salary. He had another couple RBIs on Tuesday. I know it's against Gallen, but he's been really productive.
All right, let's go over. Give us our home run calls, our favorite stacks, and our value play of the day here, James.
All right, home run call. I'm gonna go with Jake Fraley. Top stack is gonna be the Cincinnati Reds. I'm gonna eat that chalk. Honestly, like I'm kind of leaning towards one of Kansas City or Detroit. I'm just gonna throw a conglomerate contrarian stack as that game. Yeah, as a game stack, because I don't really want to go full Detroit, but getting some KC makes sense. I'm going to go my star of the night. I'm gonna just go Jake Fraley because I think he's gonna homer and have a big game against Connor Siebold. And then my value play of the night, I'll go Maikel Garcia. I really like him.
My home run call is going to be Randall Grichuk against Abbott here. My top My top stack will be Cincinnati. My contrarian stack, I'll go Houston in this matchup here against McGill. My value play, I'm gonna double tab you on that one. I'm gonna go Michael Garcia as well. Just getting in the middle of their lineup. I mean, really good
right in the middle of the lineup
spot for their start of the night. Let's see. I'll go Corbin Carroll as a star. Why not? I mean, there's just so much potential that he has. He is a star. We'll go there for the start of the night. A couple of minutes left. Let's go ahead and build a lineup here, James. We didn't love the mid tier. We liked Gallon. Are we gonna try double spend up Gossman Gallon? Do we want to fit in a value?
I don't know if we can. I don't know if we
Gossman
can.
Gallon, we have 36.
And then you play Yan Gomes. You play Michael Garcia. Probably as your first two players in.
Gomes, Garcia, Seabold probably at this point. Or not Seabold. So was it the other Royal I was just talking about there. Taylor.
Yeah,
Taylor, probably play him at 2,800, right? Jake McCarthy at 26.
Yeah.
McCarthy. 4,300 for first, short, and two outfielders. We like the Reds outfield here, right? Fraley and Friedel. Want to play them both?
Yeah, Fraley, Friedel. Yep, playing both.
Friedel. I guess we see if we can play Elly then.
I was just thinking the same thing, 5,400. So what do we have for
Torkelson?
Or O'Hearn, yeah. One of the two.
It's probably Torque the way he's playing, right?
Probably Torque. Yeah, it's probably Torque.
Because there's no first baseman for KC there. All right. So there's an example lineup we got. Again, we'll be in the Discord for the early slate. For those of you who want to check it all out. If you're not yet a member of the Fantasy Farm family, honestly, there's no better time to do it than now because the Fantasy Football Draft Guide is live and it comes free with a subscription. Go to fantasyfarm.com/all-pro. You can use promo code NFL50. You'll save you 50% off the first 6 months. It's $19.98 for the first 6 months. You get access to everything that we do on site and premium Discord. Comes with the 7-day free trial, and it comes with the Fantasy Football Draft Guide. The living draft guide lives on site. It gets updated daily. New articles released every day. As news breaks, it updates. For example, Tyreek Hill, maybe he'll be suspended. Maybe something's going on there with the reported assault and battery investigation going on there. If that would happen, we would update the rankings, update the projections. Those magazines you're buying on the shelf, not able to do that. They've already been printed months ago. So we have a living draft guide on site, which you would get access to, of course. If you only want the draft guide, you don't want to sign up. I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you don't want to, $26.99. You get that at fantasyfarm.com/draft guide. But really, just sign up for the All-Pro package there. 7-day free trial, $19.98 a month for 6 months. When you go to fantasyfarm.com/all-pro and use the promo code NFL50. Again, I'll be back live at 5 o'clock Eastern. I'm trying to remember who I have on here with me with the live stream schedule. It'll be a surprise. I'll be back live at 5 o'clock Eastern with a surprise guest.
It'll be a surprise.
Breaking down the main slate here. James will be off for a little bit. He'll be back next Tuesday. But for now, we